Hey, so you know what can be tough? Waking up to start the day. Ugh, some mornings you just want to keep on hitting that snooze button. What you need is some motivation. Something that's going to make your sleepy little head explode off of the pillow. And you think to yourself something like, I'm gonna get that job today. Today, I'm gonna start exercising. Today, I'm gonna get that promotion. Or try this one on for size. Today, I'm gonna rip somebody off. Now, you might be thinking, wait a second, are there actually people who do that? To which I'd say, well, you'd be surprised. When it comes to buying video games, and retro video games in particular, one of the biggest concerns I've seen people have over the years is, will I get ripped off if I do this? Or if I do that? And the answer is not necessarily, and probably not if you do everything I say in this video, because I've been doing all these things for years and years and years and have never been ripped off myself. Now, when it comes to getting ripped off when buying video games, there are three main ways this can happen. Actually, I've got a bonus fourth way for you too that I'll throw in at the end of the video, but the first way is you buy something that is fake. It's not authentic. The second way is you buy something that is overpriced. And the third way is you buy something that is not working, or at least not working as was advertised or as you were expecting. And naturally, you can hit two of the three, or if you're really lucky, the trifecta, all three. For spotting fakes, a lot of it comes down to just simply not buying things from weird places. And by weird places, I'm including anywhere where they don't have pictures of the exact item that you'll be receiving. In my opinion, if you're gonna sell something to somebody, that's the bare minimum you need to provide them. Pictures of exactly what they're going to receive. Otherwise, don't bother, because you don't know what is going to actually show up. It could be fake, it could be broken, it could be the wrong thing, who knows? Depending on who the seller is, if they don't have pictures by default, try just messaging them and asking them for pictures. Sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, no problem, here's some pictures, and they're more than happy to talk about it and accommodate you. If somebody is not willing to even send you pictures, then I say it's not worth buying from them. Simple as that. One time, I even had a seller send back pictures of the game with their dog in the background of the pictures, and they said, hey, FYI, games might kind of smell like dog. And I thought, that's pretty open of them, and that's a good thing to look for. Are sellers seeming like they're trying to withhold information from you? That's a red flag. The more open they seem about answering your questions, the better. And not to belabor the point, but one seller was so friendly with me that one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, we're talking about what we had eaten for lunch earlier that day. And yeah, the games I bought from that seller weren't fake, I'll tell you that much. You don't try to rip somebody off that you also share your secret grilled cheese recipe with. You just don't. Now, if you want to actually authenticate your games and make sure they're real, you can do this as well. With cartridge-based games, you can do this by opening them up and checking the circuit boards. You can open them up with special screwdrivers or screwdriver bits. And these things are cheap. They're usually just a few bucks each online. Oh, wait a second. What if somebody tried to sell you fake screwdrivers to check and see if your games are fake or not? Now that would be a dirty, dirty dog of a move. But luckily these things are so cheap that there's no incentive for that. So you're fine. Just a few bucks. Definitely want to get some of these, and then you can open up all your cartridges. Now, once you've got your cartridge opened up, take a look at that circuit board, search for what an authentic copy of that circuit board looks like online. There's pictures of every game online. You can see what their circuit boards look like. And just make sure it matches. Make sure there's no funny business going on. Also, sometimes you can tell just by looking at the outside. Look at pictures of what an authentic copy of the game looks like, and compare it to your copy or the pictures of the one you're considering buying. And the, stickers on the back, everything. Usually there's stuff that's pretty obvious on a lot of them. So stuff like the screws will be made out of plastic or something like that, like really cheap, fishy stuff. So just keep an eye out for that. CD-based games can potentially be a little bit trickier because there's not a circuit board you can look at, but same thing as what I was saying for the cartridge-based games. Look at the outside, look at everything, and make sure nothing looks fishy. And especially for CD games, the packaging, if they try to recreate a manual, yeah, there's a good chance that is just not gonna look quite right. So just keep an eye out for those things. But let's just say you completely fail at doing all of those things and end up buying something that's either broken or fake or even overpriced. What can still keep you safe from all of these things is if you simply just make sure there is a return policy, and preferably one that includes return shipping, because especially if you're buying something large like a console or a big lot of stuff, the shipping can be a huge part of the cost. A lot of issues can be avoided by simply paying attention to a seller's reputation as well. It always blows my mind when I'm on eBay and I'll be looking at a seller's feedback and there will be, a negative feedback sitting there that says something like, game arrived late, broken, and dirty. And then a few weeks later, a very similar feedback, late, broken, and dirty. And then a few weeks after that, late, broken, dirty. And I'm just thinking, what are you people doing? Stop buying from this seller. Do you look at the feedback at all? It's like if you went to a taqueria that gave you aggressive diarrhea, and then you went back a couple weeks later and the same thing happened, and you thought to yourself, gee, maybe I should go here for date night next week also. No, don't do it. There are plenty of taquerias you can go to that won't give you diarrhea, just like there are plenty of 100% feedback rating sellers that you can buy your games from. So you shouldn't settle for any less than that. When it comes to the issue of games being overpriced, I see the same mistake being made over and over for years and years now. No matter how many of us try to tell people not to do this, and it probably drives a lot of you crazy too. And that's where basically sellers base their prices off of what people are asking, not what things are actually selling for. On eBay, there's a very simple tool for this. You can just select to see the sold listings only, and then that way you'll be able to see what things are actually selling for. Although that can be a little murky too, because sometimes it'll have a best offer, but it won't show what the actual offer was. But you can also use websites like price charting to get a more rough idea of what games are actually selling for rather than just basing prices off of what people are asking for, because some people will ask for the moon. All right, but those are pretty much all the tips I have, and some of you might be thinking, none of that was all that complicated. A lot of that seems like pretty common sense stuff. And that's the thing, it can be very common sense. You don't have to be some sort of mastermind wizard to not get ripped off. So that should give you some confidence to know that you can protect yourself and keep yourself safe. But before I go, I did promise to talk about that fourth type of way that a person can get ripped off, which would be ripping off yourself. Oops, which is basically just a good old case of buyer's remorse. Have you ever bought something and then immediately thought, what have I done? Well, I sure have. In fact, quick little story for you. So at one point I purchased the Sega Saturn steering wheel, which it has its fans, don't get me wrong, and good for them if they like it. I think that's great. But for me, I just really did not like that thing. And once I bought it, I thought, oh, I spent money on that thing and I'm never going to use it. And now it's just this big, huge thing that's going to be hard to get rid of. Ugh. If you think of being ripped off as spending money on something that simply does not live up to your expectations, then yeah, we rip ourselves off all the time. So keep that in mind when you're making your purchases. But with all of that said, let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see ya in the next video.
He's the retro bird, yeah, and he's talking about video games. He's